Thank you for tuning in to leaddeveloper.com, where we simplify complex property development feasibilities, investment analysis, and everything real estate. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, our Google Sheets-based feasibility suite streamlines the toughest aspects of real estate. Lead Developer Feasibility Suite is trusted by thousands in over 17 countries. Our tools cover everything from quick assessments to detailed cash flow projections and more. Sign up today at leaddeveloper.com for unlimited free access to our expanding library of real estate tools. No credit card needed. Plus, get full support through Edge with step-by-step guidance, exclusive courses, and resources designed for your success. Turn numbers into narratives that win over investors and lenders. Join Lead Developer now.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be looking at property development joint ventures.
JVs.
Yeah, JVs. So these are basically those partnerships that make those, impressive real estate projects a reality.
Exactly. Huge undertakings. Think massive residential complexes or towering skyscrapers.
Yeah, the stuff that would make your head spin if you tried to tackle it alone, right?
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we're lucky enough to have this awesome guide from the experts over at Edge.
Oh, they're great. So before we really get into the weeds, can you kind of paint a picture for our listener?
Sure.
Of what a successful JV looks like when the right partners come together, what sort of magic can happen?
Well, picture this. You've got this company, let's say from Victoria, with big ambitions, right?
Yeah.
But they don't have a lot of experience in, say, the Queensland market.
Okay, I see.
They team up with a local expert, someone who really knows the area, and boom, they're able to navigate those unique challenges and build something really special.
I love that. Bringing different strengths together to create something bigger than the sum of its parts.
Exactly, synergy.
Now, what about those partners who, bring the big bucks, but maybe not the construction know-how? Edge calls them, no-time partners.
Ah, yes. No time, but investment, money, and expertise.
Right. So they might not be, on the construction site every day, but they're still crucial.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They bring that essential financial backing and often a ton of knowledge in other areas like finance or law.
It's all about finding that perfect balance.
Yeah, that sweet spot.
So for our listener who's thinking, hey, maybe this JV thing is for me, what's the first thing they should know about why this kind of partnership is so popular in property development?
Well, you got to understand that property development, especially at a large scale, it's a resource-heavy game.
That makes sense.
We're talking big money, specialized expertise in construction, design, marketing. And then there's the risk, always the risk.
Right, it's not for the faint of heart.
Right. And JVs, they allow partners to share those burdens, and leverage their strengths.
Like building a dream team, but for a real estate project.
Exactly.
Now, Edge lays out 7 crucial steps for structuring a JV.
Oh, yeah.
They even have this catchy acronym, SMART JV.
I love that.
So can you kind of break down this SMART JV framework for us? What are the key ingredients that go into making a JV successful?
Well, you got to start with clear goals, right?
Sure.
What's the big picture? What are you aiming for?
Like having a shared vision.
Exactly. And then it's about finding those awesome partners whose strengths complement yours,
It's like real estate matchmaking.
Yeah. Swiping right on the perfect JV partner.
And then comes the money talk.
Ah, yes, the nitty-gritty.
How do you make sure, everyone's happy with the financial arrangements?
That's where you hammer out the details.
Right, like who's contributing what, how the profits will be shared.
It's all about laying the groundwork for a smooth and harmonious partnership.
And then you pop the champagne.
Not quite.
Oh, what else?
You need a rock-solid joint venture agreement. It's like the constitution of your partnership, the document that spells out everything in black and white.
Right, to prevent any misunderstandings down the line.
Exactly. Roles and responsibilities, profit sharing, decision-making, even exit strategies. It's all got to be in there.
So it's not just a handshake deal.
No way.
But once that's signed, you're good to go, right?
Almost. There are a couple more pieces to this puzzle.
Okay, tell me more. What are we missing?
You need a solid management structure.
And what does that look like?
It's about figuring out who's making decisions, how you're going to keep everyone informed.
Transparency.
Absolutely. And then you got to tackle permits and approvals.
Of course, the paperwork.
It's like getting the green light from the authorities.
Making sure everything's legit before you break ground.
Right.
So we've got the goals, the partners, the agreement, the management structure, the permits. What's the final piece of this SMART JV puzzle?
The most important one. Effective project management.
Oh, so it's not just about signing papers and letting the builders do their thing.
Nope. It's about overseeing the whole process, managing budgets, timelines, making sure the project stays on track and meets all those quality standards.
Right, making the vision a reality.
Exactly.
Now, I know Edge also talks about some critical considerations before diving into a JV. What are some of the things to watch out for?
Right. They really stress the importance of doing your homework before you say "I do" to a JV partner.
Like dating. You gotta make sure you're compatible.
Exactly. And that's where we'll pick up next time.
Perfect. We'll dive into those essential considerations and learn how to navigate the JV landscape with confidence after the break.
Sounds good.
So we've got the SMART JV framework down, but I know our listener is thinking, okay, but what could go wrong? No partnership is perfect.
Right. There are always bumps in the road.
So let's dive into those critical considerations, those potential pitfalls.
Sure.
Edge really stresses doing your homework on potential partners before you jump in.
Absolutely. Due diligence is key.
It's like dating, right? You don't just marry the first person you meet.
Exactly. You got to get to know them, see if you're compatible.
So what are some of the red flags we should be looking for?
Well, Edge is big on background checks.
Okay, like what kind of stuff?
Digging into their past projects,
Mm.
their financial history, their reputation.
Makes sense.
You don't want to partner with someone who's going to, disappear when things get tough.
Right, got to protect yourself.
Exactly.
So let's say you found the perfect partner, everything checks out, you're both excited.
Okay.
What are some of those crucial conversations you need to have up front, to make sure the collaboration runs smoothly?
Well, Edge talks about defining roles and responsibilities.
Oh, right, the who does what conversation.
Yeah. They recommend a lead and peer review model.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about that.
So basically, each partner takes the lead on certain aspects of the project, right? Based on their expertise.
Uh-huh.
But there's always this system of peer review built in.
So it's like checks and balances.
Exactly. It ensures accountability and collaborative decision-making.
Like a second set of eyes on everything.
Prevents costly mistakes.
I like it. And I imagine communication is super important in this whole process.
Oh, absolutely. Edge can't stress that enough.
What do they recommend?
Regular meetings, transparent reporting, quick responses.
So those lines of communication open.
Exactly. You got to nip those misunderstandings in the bud.
Now, even with great communication, there can be disagreements, especially about money.
Right.
How do you make sure profit sharing and risk allocation are handled fairly?
Edge recommends building flexibility into the agreement.
Okay, so it's not just set in stone at the beginning.
No, because contributions might shift over time.
Yeah.
Right? One partner might need to put in more capital, or maybe the other partner's expertise becomes even more crucial.
Gotcha.
So you got to have a way to adjust the profit distribution accordingly.
Makes sense. But even with all these precautions, things can still go wrong.
Sadly, yeah.
Edge gives some examples of why JVs fail. What are some of the common reasons?
Well, one big one is misaligned goals.
Oh, like what?
Imagine one partner is all about maximizing profit,
Okay.
and the other one prioritizes, say, sustainability and community benefits.
Right, that could definitely cause friction.
It's like trying to row a boat in two different directions.
So it's not just about finding someone with complementary skills, it's also about shared values.
Absolutely.
What else can derail a JV?
Edge also talks about the importance of those legal agreements.
Right, the contracts.
If they're not drafted properly, you're just asking for trouble.
Like building a house on a shaky foundation.
Exactly. Disputes can bring the whole project to a screeching halt.
That's where a good lawyer comes in handy.
For sure.
Now, we talked about those exit strategies. Why are they so important?
Well, imagine you're a few years in and one partner wants out.
Okay.
Or maybe there's a big disagreement you just can't resolve.
Right, it happens.
Without a clear exit strategy, you're stuck.
So it's not about planning for failure.
No.
It's about having a plan B, just in case.
Exactly. And it can actually strengthen the partnership, knowing you've got those options.
Makes sense. What are some common types of exit strategies?
Well, there's a buy-sell agreement.
Mm-hmm.
It outlines how the partnership will be dissolved, how ownership interests will be transferred.
Okay.
And then there's the put option, which gives one partner the right to sell their stake to the other partner at a predetermined price.
So it's like a prenup for your JV.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Not the most romantic thing, but it can save a lot of heartache later on.
Now, Edge also dives into property syndicates. Can you explain how those work?
Sure. Property syndicates are basically a group of investors who pool their resources to invest in real estate.
Okay.
They can be for development projects or just to buy existing properties.
Gotcha.
They're usually structured as a unit trust or a company,
Okay.
and they're managed by trustees or directors who make the investment decisions.
So it's like joining forces with other investors.
Exactly.
Edge talks about some advantages of property syndicates. What are those?
Well, one big one is access to larger scale projects.
Right. The kind of projects you might not be able to tackle on your own.
Exactly. And it's also a great way to diversify your portfolio.
Spread the risk.
Yeah. And then there's the potential for passive income through rental distributions.
Sounds pretty good.
It is, but there are also some downsides to consider.
Okay. Like what?
Well, one is the lack of control. You're basically trusting the syndicate managers to make the right decisions.
So it's crucial to vet those managers carefully.
Absolutely. And then there's the whole market fluctuation thing.
Right. Property values can go up and down.
Exactly. And syndicates aren't immune to that.
What else?
Liquidity can be an issue. It's not always easy to sell your shares in a syndicate quickly.
Right, if you need to access your capital.
And then there are fees and costs associated with managing the syndicate.
So it's important to weigh the pros and cons.
For sure.
So after this deep dive into JVs, what are the key takeaways? What should our listener remember?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that JVs can be amazing for property development.
Yeah, it's a way to, amplify your strengths, share resources, mitigate risks.
Exactly.
But Edge makes it clear it's not like some magic bullet.
Right.
It takes a lot of careful planning.
Definitely.
From picking the right partner to, that rock-solid agreement, and then navigating those potential pitfalls we talked about.
It's a process.
It is. I think that SMART JV framework is a great roadmap.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
Breaks it down into those, manageable steps.
Yeah, it keeps you on track.
And those exit strategies, that was a big one for me.
Yeah, that's the thing a lot of people don't think about.
Right. But it's so important.
Especially at the beginning when everyone's all excited.
Exactly. But talking about those what-ifs up front, it can really strengthen the partnership.
Totally. It's like acknowledging that things change.
Yeah, relationships evolve.
And having that plan in place.
Like all those different scenarios.
It just makes things easier down the line.
And I appreciated that Edge didn't shy away from the cautionary tales.
Oh, yeah, those real-world examples.
Right. It's a good reminder that even with the best intentions,
Things can go wrong.
Yeah, you got to be prepared.
And those pitfalls, they can happen with any type of JV.
Right. Even those property syndicates we talked about.
They have their own risks.
Absolutely. It all comes down to doing your research.
Yes.
Yeah.
Understanding how those different types of JVs work.
And making smart choices. Choices that, align with your goals.
And your risk tolerance, yeah.
Now, I want to leave our listener with something to think about.
Okay.
Imagine you're, sitting across the table from a potential JV partner.
Uh-huh.
What are your non-negotiables? What are those deal breakers that would make you walk away no matter how good the project seems?
That's a great question.
Yeah, what are those core values, those principles you won't compromise on?
It's definitely worth reflecting on.
It is. And as always, keep exploring the world of property development.
There's always more to learn.
There is. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into JVs.
It was fun.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.